Hi there, it's Michael André Ford, your American Angel Intuitive. I help folks get out of their head what they know, to be in the moment, to be in their heart, to receive all with a capital A. That's answers, that's hugs, hugs can become healing, and to see directly with their eyes. Who exactly? A lot of different figures, 170 plus figures over the last 11 years. Thousands of folks have done this. And so we're talking angels, loving guides from all sorts of cultural, philosophical, religious backgrounds or non-religious backgrounds. So figures from India, Native American chiefs, Einstein, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, Mother Teresa, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Kuan Yin, Kapuna Auntie Margaret from Hawaii. Plus you can meet your relatives, passed over, pets as well. This is a lot to take in, so everything you need to know is going to be in this video, and I'm going to try to explain sort of the trajectory of this over the last 11 years. I've helped a few thousand folks individually for the most part, and then, in the last 5 years, as folks own it individually, let's say it's two sisters, two best friends, they're getting along. If you own the hearing, the feeling, the seeing directly, you're here, then you can pair up or in a group get collective, joint seeing, hearing, and feeling done. I had two sprinkler repair guys here, young guys in their 20s, great energy. So I helped them individually, and one of them was very much like me. I'm a super slow on the uptake, a super slow learner. It takes me 2 years to learn. Everyone does like that. Fast teacher. And I do so with a lot of humor, hopefully a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of zip, sparkle. I don't mind telling dad jokes. Anything that can help you shift out of the consciousness up here, but it's really unconsciousness or sort of dead weight, into that shiny big heart of yours, whether you knew it or not. It never went away. As a kid, you certainly lived in your heart. You had no limits. Sky was the limit. The universe was the limit. Stars were the limit. You had fun. And that's all this is about, is falling in love with life again, discovering that all your senses are perfectly fine. You're more talented than any of the experts out there than me. You only have to trust a little bit more and, maybe take some baby steps. So you're, again, that trusting is through physical experience. You're getting your answers. All languages are spoken, all dialects. I think that's kind of cool. People from Japan, I had 5 women over once to my Austin home. They were all super talented intuitives. They were seeing full on, getting answers. Their answers are 80% in Japanese, some English. I don't see your questions or answers. I used to go over that stuff like 8 or 9 years ago. So I don't speak Japanese. I speak a little bit of French. If you're from India, you get it in either Hindi, Telugu, some other language. The point of this is it's truly direct. You have no privacy. You're not getting judged. These are unconditional love figures who are just available here to help. You have to actually invite the help in. I mean, let's back up and look at it a different way. My philosophy on everyone out there is they're getting everything perfectly in life as it is right now. You're spending your energy. You're making decisions. Unconscious, conscious, you're spending your energy. And whether it's negativity or it's positivity, whether it's flowing out of here or flowing out of here, and whether you're aware of it or not, you are just spending your energy. You're responsible for all the things that happen in your beautiful timeline, and they've happened to you. Now, I've had a few guests on this year in the news show, Angels, Positivity, and Love, who phrased it so perfectly. They've gone through super rocky stretches, violence upon them, and they've taken responsibility for their life path. And to hear them describe it has just put me in awe. Wow, for expansion of consciousness, for expansion of understanding how their past parts of their lives have given them the most beautiful foundation upon which to build a bigger heart, a broader perspective, and to embrace love. And with that love, embrace individual humans, but all of man, and to embrace their unique life path going forward. I think Mother Teresa had this wonderful quote: if you judge people, you have no time to love them. Now, let's compare that to what we know. We've got 2 neighbors, 50 houses down, and we've got that organization. If we talk politics, sports, we don't like this person, we don't like that person, we know that they're jerks. You have to understand the bigger dynamic going on. When you label another person, you're actually hurting yourself. Wayne Dyer even had an amazing quote about that. You're shutting yourself down. You're jamming negativity into your own face. The sooner you recognize what's positive, loving, and healthy for you, and the more you put your focus there, the more you free yourself up, the more you achieve freedom personally. And the sooner you learn how energy works, the universe flows, love's the fabric of the universe, the sooner you sort of get with the universal program that's been around forever. Read The Alchemist, read The Four Agreements, read Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, A New Earth, read Dan Millman's Peaceful Warrior, Esther Hicks, Law of Attraction, the Vortex stuff, all that. What's great with all those authors is you can spend a lot of time that way. And eventually your ego, your psyche, is going to get behind that, because the last sort of step here is going within. Even Seth, Jane Roberts, the 1970s New Age, the thing that kind of kicked this off. A light being named Seth gave us a lot of, here's how it is with reality and stuff like that. It was interesting, but there was a beautiful quote that still sticks with me. You have to go through the world you think you know, your version of reality. There's 8 billion people with 8 billion entirely different realities. And I think Geronimo said it best, millions of questions, just one answer. And that's really love, the heart. In one sense, there aren't 8 billion different realities. It's just one reality. We're all connected together, and it's love. But of course, we got to talk details. So if we matched up all those values and we're able to kind of, I don't like the New York Jets, I like the New York Jets. Well, those two cancel each other out. We're left with very little after that. A lot of human thinking, a lot of details, but at the end of the day, it's love or negativity, or kind of a neutral, slight negativity. So the more you can put your focus or be aware of where you're putting your focus, the more you can figure out which direction you want to head. Do you want to head in a positive direction, or do you want to kind of dwell with wasted energy? A lot of this is a waste of energy. And guess what? Thinking's not going away, so don't beat yourself up further for having judged someone, judge yourself. The name of the game is to figure out how to love yourself more if you're not doing enough, how to appreciate yourself more, how to appreciate that you have every tool in the toolbox here already. It's sort of a realization. Watch Soul Surfer. She loses her arm to a shark bite, and it takes her a while in the film, I'm talking the film version, to appreciate that she really actually never lost anything. In fact, she's been given a bigger foundation from which to live and love more, and that's what's super beautiful about that movie. Okay, so people can meet angels, they can see angels, they can hear angels, and what I just want to point out is if there's resistance to this concept, fantastic. You don't have to do anything. You're actually getting help from angels all the time. What do you think at least a quarter of your little intuitive voice is, the positive one, that's trying to tell you with some direction what to do, over time? It'll sound like you. Why would angels, or why would Aunt Martha or your grandfather want to sound like them and freak you out right in the middle of your golf swing, or if you're trying to decide on which professor you should take for your courses? It's just better if it sounds like your own voice. Why interfere? The big shtick, or the big thing with angels, they're just there. Constant love, take it or leave it. You're good. You're supported 100%. There's no need to prove anything. They're not going to get baited by a team of scientists to have to prove anything. It's not about that. Those scientists, in doing their analysis, are separate from their hearts. You can have the experience. You can appreciate the experience. You can do it anytime you want. You've got this thing called the heart. It's like a giant button. As soon as you hit it, you're in the moment, you're in the now. You can have any answers. Again, all languages, all dialects. And what I wanted to say was, just like I said, forget angels, it's really about where are you putting your poker chip stacks? Where are you putting your resistance? Where are you putting what you will allow for? That's the biggest way to look at this. Where are you putting your limits? Where are you not living? How are you not maxing out, having fun in life, doing whatever it is your passions, your desires tell you that you should be doing? So you can love more, you can allow more, you can go in any direction you want. Now, they speak all languages, they speak all dialects, and I think that's pretty cool. It's miraculous if you want. The hugs can become healing. Colorblind people have seen color. It doesn't mean that they got flipped overnight and that's it. They're seeing color forevermore. Some stuff's written, some stuff's not. That's private to you. You talk to angels about it. Maybe you can get something adjusted. In the big picture, angels can alter your path. You can ask for that. You can have a dialogue. You can expand on any front. You just have to have that dialogue. It's private between you and them. Okay, so angels give you answers in any language, any dialect, but the bigger thing is this. You're a known quantity, and you're known what you've done, where you are in your path, what's ahead, what's written. There's multiple timelines, all this stuff. But you also have, like, literally each person has, we'll just make it up, 1 million thought forms, 1 million values. This is good, this is bad. Now, in one sense, there's no such thing as good or bad. There's just proper understanding. More love is good, less negativity is better, or good also. There's here, and the more you understand that, you don't need the rules, the regulations, you just know how to live properly. Okay, so you're a known quantity, and what I'm trying to get at again and again and again is they also just know how to navigate the million little barricades, the walls, the landmines, the things that you think you totally believe in, which, by the way, change from week to month to year to decade. Look back a decade ago, maybe you don't have the same political party affiliation, the same NFL team, you don't like purple anymore, you wear pink all the time, who knows? But things change, and that's partly the reason why we lock down so tight is change. Change is just going on at every level, quantum level, every cell in our body, the way the earth's spinning. It's so much that our psyche, our ego, it's there to protect us. It locks us down to the point where we can feel secure without having to learn or expand anymore. We know what we know. That's enough. And adults and adulting is, that's the big cause of a lot of illness, a lot of unhappiness, a lot of suffering, and people who say, I'll never find a loved one, I don't know what love is, who have lost a loved one and then years later still have not started living again. So welcome to being human. These are the typical situations. A lot of people go through this, and it's not to belittle those situations at all, but it's actually a bigger opportunity to live. When you're given those hardships, boy, are you given a huge opportunity for a broader understanding, a greater consciousness, a greater level of compassion for yourself and others. And you are always 1 second away from living more, loving more, and allowing more. So back to your known quantity. Angels just know how to phrase everything. Let's say a typical human, if there's 1,000 ways to say birds of a feather, or what goes around comes around, or karma, law of attraction, there's a million ways to say that concept. Well, me, you, Sarah in London, John in Chicago, or Beth in Sydney, Australia, they'll each have a top 10 list of their preferred ways to hear karma, birds of a feather, what goes around comes around. And in the top 2 list, they won't be saying, I don't really roll that way. It'll be the way that they actually think about that topic. And angels know how to navigate the value system for that particular human and say it just the way they need to hear it. Now think how important this is. You're in a workplace. Let's just do a business person first who's successful and just knows their business model and they would love extra help. They're some of my favorite. I think that's the unofficial, real spiritual crowd because they're not hung up on lingo. They're not hung up on this, they're that. They just want their answers. They want to get moving. Now, a third of them have family situations, personal situations. They want to get answers for that too. But they're well-disciplined. They know how to listen. They know that listening is the key to everything and that that's their awareness. They're down here. And it's why they're such good business decision makers, why their business is successful, why they're successful, why the salesperson gets so many closed deals. I don't know. So you can get your answers for the next 100 people to call. Leads, we'll call them. John Smith at JHQ Company, call them next Thursday and use this phrase and this phrase. Their pain point is this, avoid this. Why wouldn't you get those answers? Better than a McKinsey company, better than any sales, business consultant, or self-help guru could give you on a YouTube program. No offense to myself. But so here, I'm a little bit different. I'm trying to hand you the experience. I'm trying to hand you the keys to your own castle. I'm trying to hand you the treasure map. You follow that path around and the X is here. You're the treasure. You get to discover yourself. You get to discover your full potential. You get to discover, too, why things went down in the past the way they did. Angels don't mind giving you the backstory. Don't get too hung up on that stuff. Why did I get divorced at 22? Why did I choose Toledo instead of Montreal? Why did I go over there? Why did this happen to me? How did I survive that near-death experience? You hear which angel pulled you out of the car and the trooper got there and they're like, yeah, no, ma'am, I was the first one here. There was no one else. And you're always been head-scratching about that. So you can get the backstory in anything. And angels are here again to help you, but they'll say it just the way you need to hear it. You do have free will. You do have to put yourself out there. It will feel like you're jumping off a cliff a mile down through some fog and you're not even sure there's water down there. And even if you're wearing shoes, you're scared to death to let go because of the fall. But the distance is really from here to here. And again, Dan Millman's movie, Peaceful Warrior with Nick Nolte, has a deleted scene there at the bus stop. And it's talking about how it's the one place no one wants to go. The book's beautiful, it won't ruin the movie. The movie's beautiful, it won't ruin the book. But this is the last place on earth you're going to want to go. It's so scary. The fear in you, the scared part of you is just your ego, afraid to get called out, The jig is up once you learn that the heart's a pretty nice place to be in. It's like going on vacation in the Mediterranean or Canary Islands or in Australia. You just start swimming laps in a gorgeous warm pool, tropical music on, you're in the Caribbean. Have fun. Be in your heart, live more, love more, allow more. But if you listen to ego and structure and all your fears and worries and my problem is, Michael, you don't understand my situation. I have 15 kids, 6 dogs. It's horrible. All that will block just you taking a breath or smiling or relaxing or letting go or getting clarity or getting a greater sense of awareness of where you're at in life. At any point, it doesn't have to be a vacation in Hawaii. It doesn't have to be taking this job or taking this course or doing the Hindu thing or doing the Eckhart Tolle thing or this ashram or Machu Picchu. None of that. You don't have to travel anywhere. You can bring India to you, by the way. You can have Tibet come to you. You can have a Native American setting come to you. So yes, you can meet angels. Yes, you can get answers. Yes, you can get hugs. I'll tell anyone who will listen that one hug is worth like 100 questions. The record is 48 pages and 9 hours of getting answers. An Australian, I said this a long time ago on a show, and then she popped up and was like, that was me. And I was like, oh, thank you for telling me that. She was wonderful. She was like gung-ho, ready to go. How much ink was in the pen? Maybe she needed a second pen, a second legal pad, but she was just blazing answers down and did a great job. Now that's a lot. It takes a lot of energy. I help people with their energy. If they're really stuck, I lend a little bit. I try to stay out of that. I think they really should just own the whole thing top to bottom. Angels really do all the work. I just help do the introductions. I help a person get out of here to get to here to, again, receive all. So it's answers, it's hugs, it's seeing auras, just white light, green light, purple, fuchsia, colors that are beyond human definition. 19 colors at once. Rainbow light. If you see rainbow light on your fingers or on your dog or on my aura, run out and buy a lotto ticket. Or finish that last chapter of your book you've been dawdling on for 3 months. Or if you've been only running 5 miles, go run 7 miles. You're wide open at that point. Like cash in. Have fun. And this brings a metaphor to mind from Eat, Pray, Love. I don't remember if it's the book or the movie, but there's a guy who goes to that Italian fountain for like a year, an old man, and he's crying to the fountain. Maybe it's a patron saint, lots of water. Those Italian fountains are gorgeous. And he's like, why am I not winning the lottery day after day? And that's all of us complaining about something. We think we've got a lack. We think we're not there. We're up here. We're not here. We're not taking even a breath and appreciating that life, the charms of life, are in the actual moment with us. That's the pinnacle of success. Start appreciating that. Everything else comes to you. So he cries to the fountain. Every night he goes to the fountain and he looks up at the saint. We'll make it up. And he's like, why am I not winning the lottery? And finally, after a year, there's a huge sigh. The statue comes alive and it says, will you just buy a lotto ticket first? That's all of us. And even if you met angels, even if you got 48 pages of answers, even if you got 15 hugs and those hugs became healing, even if you were colorblind and got to see colors briefly, even if you felt an angel hold your hand, felt an angel put a hand on your shoulder, saw a feather, a real feather, land on the table in front of you, or an electronic feather made out of angel light land on the table in front of you, you can still go back into your thinking. I've had tons of folks who, I have to be gentle here, they could be well-known in this arena, well-known in that arena. They've rounded the bases. They've gotten the feeling, hearing, seeing, everything done. But then they can beat a retreat later. Your thinking can kick back in. It can be strong. And as soon as you learn the difference of what this is versus this, there's no reason you're ever going to want to do this that much more. You're going to slip into it all the time. But so it's feel what you feel, do not judge. You're going to have a reaction. If somebody's kind of a jerk and they honk the horn at you, you might have a brief flare-up. But if you can just hold back on the judging a little bit, that moment will pass. This too shall pass. Once you discover what this is about and how it's 0.01% negativity to, if it's fear, if it's guilt, it's a little stronger than that. And if you actually saw that energy, you would seriously, it's a hot stove. Do you still touch hot stoves today? The answer is no. So there's certain things we just know like that. And this is one of those things. This will be so much easier for mankind down the road when you start seeing energy flows. Because if you see that, it's like an automatic understanding of what I'm trying to say with words. Most words, by the way, are just another form of egoic thinking. If it's climate change, are people sharing love? That's the only thing that matters. Or are they sharing unlove? Are they judging, telling you how to live, telling you how to do this? It's really not up to man to fix anything if you wanted to listen to angels. That's the most controversial statement I could say, so I'm going to park that. But think of it this way. The real climate change issue is the climate up here and the here. And how you're rolling is your unique life path, but before you meet angels and before you realize it's much bigger than you're appreciating, the way we tend to roll is, lots of lack. We're not doing quite what we think we should be doing. We're not having fun. We're not happy. We're not loving a lot. We're, as Buddhists would say and others would say, we're just, in a state of suffering. So the opportunity here is to clean up your own little mini climate as much as you will. You're always going to be doing some thinking. So angels, let's let the pressure out of the Instapot. I think I did the metaphor right. 7% less thinking a week is all we're talking about. Daily, weekly, 7% less thinking. I used to say 5%, 10%, but an angel named Charlotte cut it down the middle, 7%. So 7% less thinking. I pulled the calculator out once. I think that's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I have no idea, but it just means do a little more yoga. Get outside, touch a tree, read a book, pet your dog. Less iPhone, unless the iPhone's one of those cool ocean meditation things, or a photo of an angel on my website. I've got tons of photos of angels. A photo of an angel can move, so it's a pink ball light. It's joy. You've got it on your iPhone. Carry it around for a few weeks. I think Wix made me choose one price for every photo, so $3. Carry it around. You ask a question. You listen silently in your heart. Sounds like your voice for 1 second. Second you let go, you hear full on, hey. She's the emotion joy. You can get any answer. Ask for a hug. Feel a hug. 1 million ways to feel a hug. Goosebump here, goosebump here, goosebump here, whoosh in the room, wind in the room, hand on the shoulder, yummy in the tummy, sparkling in the toes. I mean, literally, they're angels. They're not perfect. They're still learning from us, but from our perspective, they're absolutely perfect. They've got it all. It's crazy. They can show up in human form. I met an angel named Heather in Hawaii, Sweden, Austin Bookstore, New York. It's a long story, but they're here to help. And take it or leave it. You don't have to worry about this at all. But what's really cool about this, suppose you're the biggest skeptic in the world. Ditch all the details I'm talking about. Where are you reacting? Where are you putting your limits, your barriers? The second we generally talk, it's egoic thinking. It's just building more walls. Even if you clear out 100%, you get given a clean slate by angels, you can build those walls back up pretty quickly. Like, I do a lot of work with folks. They get what they need. They get a lot lifted off of them. There's a lot of crying sometimes, or yawning, or laughter. They feel lighter. Oftentimes people will give me a hug, and if I haven't done my barriers right, their last little bits of Samsonite luggage, anything they've been carrying around gets piggybacks on me. Totally uncool. My fire alarms in my house will go off. Last couple of houses, it works that way. It's just the house saying, hey, grab some sage, energetically clear the house out of the negativity. Do the spring cleaning. So, I just sent an email to someone and I had cigarette smoke in the living room. And so when I connect with folks, I try to remember just to ask angels to help me ground, to protect my area, keep my boundaries up. Only the highest vibration, compassion, love, support me. You have to make these requests. You can't make the request enough during the day, if that makes sense. It doesn't matter what language you choose either. You can just say, hey, angels, make it nice. Support me through the day. If you could send me some humor, some super fun people, high vibe to interact with. I'll take messages indirectly, signs. Lately, that's been something some of the guests have talked about on the Angels Positivity and Love Show on YouTube. Please subscribe, please like. Please put some positive comments in about what you've loved most about any of these videos. You're watching this now. Pick something out that's resonated and please put it down. It really inspires other people. I love it. It's just such fun feedback. Okay, so this is a lot to take in, but what's great is at the very least you can meet your own ego, not necessarily tame it, but you can tame it. The second you realize the difference between here and here, ego technically has no more control over you. It's been in the driver's seat this whole time since you were like going from a kid to adult. And that's all about limits. It's all about unconsciousness. It's all about pain, suffering, what you don't have, what you think's in the future. It's all about past. It's all about failures and accomplishments. You can get hung up on both of those too. There was a runner I ran with for years in New England who used to say, after a race, you finish top 10, 5K, half marathon, regional runs, let it go. You did really well in a race, celebrate it that night, and then totally let it go, forget about it. And I never quite understood that. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense. I love that attitude. So bravo to him for being so Zen-like, a Zen master. And also in Zen master, Buddhist, if it's Joshu or some of these other ancient Korean, Chinese, Japanese Zen master kind of stories, there's an expression, is that so? And I never got that as well. I'm the guy who took 25 years. I wrote down the expression non-duality back in like 1992 in a diary, and it took me until 2009 or so to see it in Thich Nhat Hanh's book and finally go, oh, non-duality. Now I get it. I'm slow. I'm beyond slow. So if I'm suggesting anything that you think's a big deal, I'm here to tell you it's not a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It's not a big deal. When you're in your heart, it's easy. It's the soccer game. You just knew where everybody was going to be at. The defensive players, time sped up, time slowed down. You navigated them and bam, you kicked the goal and you knew you were going to get the goal. Now, pick a different analogy if you're not a soccer player, but it's cooking. You got a meal, you're making it, you know how to make it fantastic. There's a room full of people who love you. You're having the time of your life, barbecue. It's spring break. It's on vacation. It's at your home. You're just having people over that you love dearly. 1 + 1 = 11 is all we're talking about. Okay, so is that so? There's the story of the Zen monk in a fishing village, and there's a knock on the door, and a family with their teenage daughter presents a baby. She's blamed him for being the father. They present him with the baby, and he says, is that so? He takes the baby, treats it as his own, takes care of it for the next year. Finally, she confesses that it was someone else who's the father. They come back, they knock on the door, and they're like, we need to get the baby back. He hands it over. Is that so? And so it's a crazy concept. I think I reacted to it like 15 years ago by thinking, hey, what about joy? What about happiness? What about all the cool things in life? Are we taking away from the high points of living? And I don't think that interferes with it at all. You can love more, you can laugh more, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Now that alone, I wish I had started this whole thing with that statement. You can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Forget angels, forget Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, forget meeting God, forget meeting your pet, forget meeting Aunt Martha, Plato, whoever. You can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Write down all the reasons why you're not going to be happy right now, why you're not going to start laughing, smiling. Do the chubby checker, Elvis Presley, cha-cha-cha in your kitchen, get up and do the hokey pokey, do a twirl. Lighten up. There's nothing holding you back, no thing. And that's if you're in your heart with a proper perspective on life. There's proper understanding. Love, 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 love is all there is. Love is the fabric of the universe. Think of Scrooge. He was dental floss at the start of that 79-page story. Now, we all forget at the end of the book, he's the greatest human ever. He's like Rama out of India. He's joyful. He still does great business. There's nothing wrong with having an identity, a role, kicking ass, chewing bubblegum. I'm sure he's giving tons, but he's probably making 3 times as much. People like to work with him. They sense the energy. They sense the energy from across the street. His presence has gone out, 30 meters. He's full of joy and sparkle, and everybody he talks to feels like they've got his undivided attention. So he's a fun guy, not a mushroom, fun guy. Okay, at the beginning of the book is all we think of. We forget that we're all a little bit of Scrooge. No matter what, even if you've met angels, gotten all your answers, and you're top self-help expert, you're still going to yell at someone sometime during the next year, or freak out, or just get upset, or lose some sleep over some situation. Welcome to being human. So you don't have to be Scrooge. You don't have to go through that 1-minute lucid dreaming, dream time, get your butt kicked by angels past, present, future, shown your whole thing. But that can't happen. And that can happen through divorce. It can happen through near-death experiences, your car crash. It can happen through a bunch of other stuff. But the brain, the ego likes to seize on everything. And so even if you go through a near-death experience, you might join the near-death community. You might become a speaker on it. You might make the circuit. You might actually still find a way to stop your growth and expansion so that you think only in terms of near-death. The Buddhist community will only think in terms of Buddhism. Indian communities in the country of India, same thing. Culturally this, culturally that, this group, that group. There's 5,000 different types of groups out there with 40 million tons of lingo. At the end of the day, it's all pointing in the same direction. Here, love, no limits. I can do this. Letting go. And I just absolutely love my little Listening to Angels book was 100% written by angels. I saw balls of light as I typed. It's 15 minutes to read. It's $4.99. It was Amazon's #2 book on April 30th, 2022 in the spirituality category and angels. The most complicated terms in it are like compassion, unconditional love. But the book literally helps you understand getting out of here, getting to here. Once you discover that difference, ego has no more hold on you. You can get going with discovering your unique life path, why you're here, what your life purpose is. It teaches you to listen to and meet 7 angels, including Archangel Michael. There's a Joy, there's a Charlotte. You can find those photos on my website. I have photos of angels, photos of fairies, Plato, historical photo of Audrey Hepburn. She's an angel. She loves showing you a more fashion-y version when you see her in human form, and when she unfolds her wings, lots of sparkle, like a Disney effect on her wings. This is a lot to accept, but this is what's been going on for 10 or 11 years. And again, 90 plus testimonials. I think I've got like 20 something book reviews. Anita Morjani again did a beautiful one in January. People at Omega Institute have done this. I've spoken at the Shift Network. I'm about to go on Coast to Coast radio, Coast to Coast AM radio. This is March of 2023. That's a big audience. Doing an event in April I'm very excited about. So it's a direct experience. It's one you have to allow for. I'd point the way. What you put in is what you get out of it. I think I had someone last year who like lightly touched on all the senses. They lightly got a smell of sage. If I'm blowing sage through 2 screens, they lightly got answers. You know, first it sounds like your own voice. The second you let go, you hear a high peppy voice for joy. But you can doubt this back into the ground or into a puff of smoke. So you're not sure. You get hugs, you're not sure. You see, you're not sure, a little bit of light. And so it's easy to beat a retreat if you let your ego jump back into the driver's seat. So you have a guardian angel, you have a personal cheerleading squad. I'll talk about that. Your guardian angel never leaves you. It's like a Secret Service agent. If you want to use a stretch limo metaphor, I love that. And there's a lot of folks out there that like talk in terms of numbers on your team. I'd like to do the opposite. I'd like to say you have an unlimited number of coaches, unlimited number of support staff. You've got your ancestors, a lot of indigenous cultures, if it's Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, Aboriginal, India, Asia, they talk about their ancestors. So you've got lineage there, and I'm talking only the unconditional loved ones, not Redbeard the pirate, anybody who might be not so nice. Just you have loving figures who are there to support you. You have guides that are unconditional love. It could be a Native American chief figure from India, Einstein, Plato, something like that. And then you have angels. So you have a guardian angel, your Secret Service agent. You have an angel for this life stage. This life stage could be 2 minutes, 2 months, 2 years. How fast or how slow are you willing to let go of what you know and realize there's some lessons coming your way in this life stage? Now, it's not just about lessons. I don't want people to get hung up on that. That's the deal with thinking and egos. We get so linear and so hung up on how we think it has to be. The second we learn something new, boom, no more learning for 10 years. And that's just being human. And it's far bigger than all of that. So you've got a cheerleading squad in that limo. And some angels come and go. As you learn, as you expand, jump into a different life stage, a different angel gets into that front seat with the cap. And so some angels come and go. It doesn't mean you can't talk to them again, but they've done their job. There's a lot of personality. There's a lot of character. I mean, there's multiple ways people historically have seen angels. There's the whole smoke, brimstone, fire. I don't know how to say it the right way. The classical, kind of scary, super ginormous, big wings, smoke, brimstone, fire. The classic, maybe religious way. The classic, you better take it seriously way. I've heard that from a lot of folks. There's a few people on the show, episode 4, I'm going to say 6, Mark Lanehart, Paul Sugar, on angels, positivity, and love. Check out those episodes. They refer to that way of seeing, but Paul Sugar also mentions the nicer way. You could see Audrey Hepburn standing right here if you wish, but if you have any problem with that, just ask for a little ball of light to pass through, maybe my screen to you, even though it's 2 years in the future. There's no limits, there's no time and space quite the way we fixate on that stuff. It's much more loosey-goosey. So if you can just put it to the universe, be like, okay, look, I feel Mike's vibe somehow. I'm not sure I can grasp any of this, so give it up. Don't even try, just laugh. But find a way not to judge it. Find a way not to put a wall up. Find a way not to block it. Just be neutral on it. Everyone else is having these experiences. Who cares? Let them be, let yourself be. But if you're kind of like, well, I wouldn't mind seeing one single little cute ball of light go by, Penelope, put that out there silently. You don't have to talk out loud. Don't get caught at the supermarket asking to see an angel, or in human form, opening up the freezer door for you and saying, oh, go ahead. And they got sparkly eyes. You can't stop thinking about them for 3 weeks after that. They made your day. They said something else that you're on cloud 9. And that was the whole point of the interaction, just to make you feel better. You're having a hard week. Ask angels to do something for you, to show you a sign. Repeated, same truck with the same cool phrase. A feather on your car hood. A feather in your laundry room. Folded clothes, it's just sitting there. You have no explanation. You're looking up and you're like, I cannot explain how that feather got there. It will drive you nuts. But who's it driving nuts? Only your ego. Your heart's ready to roll with all this. Your heart's the one that enjoys Disney movies on the telly. Your heart's the one that enjoys the old black and white, or music. Let's do music. As a kid or a teenager, you started to listen to a certain type of music. You were looking for the next band. You want to go to the concert. You were a fan. You paid attention. As you got to be an adult, you stopped paying attention, generally speaking. Or you got stuck in a certain genre of music. It's only going to be classical or Italian opera or this or that or alternative. It's only going to be small black, cannons, and grimes. We limit on everything. And then we play the same song over and over again. Now, I have an excuse for that. I love like Lotus Flower, Radiohead 4,000 times in a row, or Cannons 4,000 times in a row, or certain Grimes songs 4,000 times in a row, because to me, it brings me to my heart. It helps expand my energy. I feel better. It's like lighting a candle, meditation, going for a run. I use it as a technique. So high vibe music, I think, is a fantastic way to go. But let's go back to a typical adult. They might not have been to a concert in 10 years, like going on vacation or like saying, I love you in the mirror. This is really about developing your game, your level of your game, living life in the moment, so that then any direction you go, you're mastering not just the moment, but you're mastering anything you put your focus on. Now, again, Dan Millman in Peaceful Warrior talks about that. There's a gas station attendant named Socrates. Nick Nolte plays him in the film, and it's like an adult Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi figure. And so how do I do this? Go buy all of Dan's books, do his seminars, everything else, but people have met that figure. It's an angel. I'll leave it at that. Full on seeing, full on hearing, full on getting hugs, full on getting answers. That angel, Dan's had a wonderful life, is helping millions and millions of people. Wish Dan the most success. Hopefully meet him in the next decade or so. Shake hands, say, hey, great, nice to meet you. Hopefully we get to chat a little more than that. But some angels will come in and help humanity out over time. We'll talk Renaissance time frame, just to make sure mankind's moving forward. A little more consciousness, a little more compassion, a little more love. We're ready for less rat race. If you go to the appendix of that little Listening to Angels book, $4.99 on Amazon, we're ready for a little less rat race, a little more love, kindness, compassion. But it starts with you. You have to understand even what that means. And that just means taking a breath. Chogyam Trungpa, Tibetan monk who fled Tibet from the Chinese army around the time that Dalai Lama did, and obviously they knew each other, is a pretty famous figure. Reconciled on the other side, unconditional love now, absolutely fantastic. I've had a few folks who studied under him in the 1970s, so knew him when he was alive, studied under him, who have then met him this way on the other side and have just loved it. There's the Swedish testimonial, Woman in the Purple Jacket. She's from Canada originally, but 30 years in Sweden. She went and adopted 2 kids, babies, I think, 1997, from Mother Teresa, so met her in India, and then got to meet her on the other side a few years ago and was, crying at that one moment because it was beautiful. You're meeting angels first, and then you can meet your favorite figures, and then eventually relatives if you want to take it that far. You can do it with your eyes shut too if it's easier for your relatives. You can have a luau in Hawaii and sit there and get a healing ceremony, get more of your answers, have a book, a project, be shown your life path in much more of a visionary, lucid dream sort of way, because one vision or stream of light coming in could be worth 4 million words. It's so much easier to do it that way. But we all want our answers. We all want to be able to see our answers. And so there's a lot of people teaching automatic writing right now. I would love to, absolutely do, I think it's Michael Sandler, Susan Giesemann, if I said her last name right. Absolutely take all those classes and stuff like that. But this is the whole kit and caboodle here. It's not automatic writing. You're actually chatting directly with Plato. You're chatting with Mother Teresa, Chogyam Trungpa, Mary, Jesus, God, Muhammad, non-religious figures, religious figures. It's all about faith. Non-religious faith, religious faith. Because it isn't about any one cultural thing. It's about letting go to be here. That's the leap of faith. That's the letting go. And if you're still hung up on any of this, let go of the details and keep letting go of the details. If you were only to do 2 or 3 basic tenets from this whole talk, it's let go and keep letting go and never stop letting go. And the details, just keep letting go. As soon as you think you're done, keep letting go. That means be here as much as possible. And then trust that angels exist, the universe is full of love, and you can be loved more anytime you want, and practice it. As soon as you practice that a little bit more, like anything else, I think there's some expression, do it 1,000 times, 10,000 times, you're an expert. That's all this is. You were already an expert at love. You never lost a step. You never skipped a beat. If you were that expert back in high school, college, in some way of living, you were like, when I was 17 to 27, that was the best time of life. I was happy, carefree. I rocked it. You've never lost that. You just got a little more serious. And it's like taking off some of the bad layers off the wood. When you strip down those bad layers, the peeling layers, and you want to refurbish the wood. That's all this is. Get kind of primed up again and learn how to live life, be in the moment, be happy for no reason at all. That's the number one thing is love, 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 and then love more. And you'll find that you're the best business person in the world. You'll find that everything you touch resonates. Okay, so Mother Teresa, she met Mother Teresa in 1997, adopted a couple kids. We met a couple years ago, and she had a chance to do all that, but she gave a great, I think it's like a 2-minute video, 1 minute in English, 1 minute in Swedish, but oh my God, her energy is just so phenomenal. I'm so thankful for that testimonial. There's a lot of video testimonials. You can find them on the website, but that's one I had to put up. When people tell you they've done this, that's fantastic. That's what the Angels Positivity and Love show is. People have met angels multiple times with me. I blow sage through the screen. I show you your auras. Everything's energy. Let's do Joseph Campbell. You can meet Joe. What a wonderful figure. Oh, if you want a couple of suggested audio CDs, Og Mandino, Greatest Salesman on Earth, that's one. Anything by Eckhart Tolle, especially A New Earth or Power of Now, listen to his voice, his presence. That guy will crush you in one way, because he almost should have a whiskey glass and a cigar and do stand-up. He's got a little laugh, and he is so a certain way. But you can feel his presence. So if you're stuck in traffic a lot, you're in a big city, and you want to just have a great audio time, then that's Eckhart Tolle for you. If you're resistant at all, you're like, oh, this stuff can't possibly exist, but you're losing sleep at night, and you want to have a way to fall asleep, your ego will reject Eckhart Tolle's voice and the content, or just touch his book, A New Earth. Start reading a paragraph or two. Your ego's going to say, I'd rather have you fall asleep. You've been sleepless for 30 nights in a row. But your ego will make a decision for you because it's all about control and limiting. I do not want you to read basically what are the equivalent of angel words. I'd rather have you fall asleep at night. 2 paragraphs, you're out like a light. So having trouble sleeping at night, do A New Earth. Now, Joseph Campbell, he sat down in the Lucas Skywalker Ranch, I think it is, Skywalker Ranch, or the studios. I'm forgetting the name of the studios, but he sat with Bill Moyers. Bill Moyers spoke at my graduation at Middlebury. But he sat with the journalist Bill Moyers, and they had this beautiful series of chats. The Power of Myth, I think, was the series. But each one of these little episodes is only 3 minutes to 11 minutes, so it's perfectly built. If you like to listen to stuff on your walks in the park, your runs, the voice, Joseph Campbell's voice is incredible. He gets an A+ from angels for having lived his unique life path. He didn't meet angels during the course of it, nor was he meant to. But boy, there's no one else on earth who's studied everything from the Incan to the Mayan to the Christian mythology to, Viking to Native American to this tribe to that tribe. He takes all the world's cultural, religious, philosophical, religious stuff and does kind of comparisons and shows the basic tenets and how it's all in unison and how it's all parallel. Buddhism, Hinduism, you name it. So at one point, Joseph Campbell says, and I think consciousness is energy. And I have to mention this because you can see the flow of energy. If you can just see a pink light going between your fingers, and I do that to help people warm up, they can just see their own flow of light. You're using it all the time, that energy. You're connecting all the time. Even if you're being negative towards someone, you're still zipping them with the negative energy. You can see that energy. But if somebody else owns it, you've got a wife, a husband, a partner, your best friend, you've each seen your own energy. You're letting go, you're giving yourself permission, you're one with all. You just see your flow, your light, and it can change every given second. So today it's gold and yellow and pink. Tomorrow it's green, blue, and purple. Each of you can be half the glow stick and put out one finger and see the flow of light between you two. You got to give yourself permission. You got to allow for this, but it's absolutely beautiful and it's a lot of fun. But keep going with this concept. Obviously, if two people put their hands together, you could feel each other's skin, the warmth, and that's a no-brainer. Duh. Okay, I can accept that somebody out there is saying right now. But what I'm trying to say is life is so much bigger, and so we think everything is this way is the only way you could feel physically. Now, I don't think it's much of a stretch that I can feel the heat between my two hands right now. You could do this right now. It's a great exercise that many of the experts through different episodes of Angel Positivity and Love in 2023 will point out, is you can feel your energy and use that to center and ground and do stuff with it. But right now you can go like this, and I wonder why that happens to look like that. Very interesting. Okay, and then you can do this and start to feel just the heat. But at some point, it's not heat anymore, it's energy. And you're going to have to figure out, is it out here? And you're like, holy cow, there's no way I'm feeling heat, it's energy, I'm still feeling it. But add the dimensional aspect of it, and everything's bigger, multidimensional, transdimensional, whatever lingo you need to use. Allow yourself to see the flow of energy between your hands. And what happens if your friend, or your husband, or your wife, or your partner, your twin sister, you each put your hand out, you're seeing the energy flow. But you're at a Walmart, you're at a Target, you're at a soccer field, you're at a football field. You start backing up another 10 or 20 yards. Are you still seeing the flow of light? You got to gradually do the further and further out, but you can see it from 100 yards. I'm just going to say this fact. You can not just feel the energy 100 yards apart, the connection you have with someone. You're willingly doing it. You want to do it. You think it's cool. You can see the light flow as well. Now, just to throw a wrench into all this, because there's someone out there that's like, no way. But maybe they like Star Wars, and it's the Force from Star Wars. It's Grogu. It's Yoda. Do not. There is no try. So they could be the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, and now they're stuck because they're just crushing it on this, and they're like, that's not possible. Then they think about all the Star Wars stuff, and they're like, well, it is a little Jedi. Maybe it's possible. That's being human, is it's unbelievable. Spin the wheel. You can have any reaction anytime. Today, you got it done. Tomorrow, you think it's not possible, and for 2 weeks, you think it's not possible. What's going to happen? You're not going to see it. But it's just life. There's more colors than on the human definition or scale. You can see colors that you have no idea how to describe, but they're beautiful. This is the flow. This is the force. It's in you and around you all the time. If you want a way, I think there's like 150 ways describing me how I do my job. Somewhere on the first page of the website. I help people fall in love with life again. I help people remember who they are. I help people find their life path. I help people tap what they've got. I crack people open like a walnut. I do trans-dimensional channeling for a multi-dimensional experience. I introduce people to angels. I'm an angel agent. It doesn't matter what you say. I did free service for 8 years, so I didn't charge. I was learning from every single person. I'm still learning from every single person. It's unbelievable. But I can say humans, me included, it's like the kid in the basement who hasn't gotten a job yet. We've got unlimited potential for getting a job. How is that? We've got unlimited potential for appreciating all, being, allowing all, loving more, loving ourselves more, and loving others more. It's incredible. So you can have your answers. any direction, anything. And I want you to think about that just like you can be happy now in this very moment. Here's another one of those rubs. It's a litmus test. It's a pretend you're the negative Nelly listening to this whole thing and you're like, not possible, not possible, not possible. You can have any answer to any question. Let's say you get 5 questions, 5 answers. Stop for a second and be like, holy cow, I'm getting any answer to any question. Now, what excuse do you have in life not to go in some incredibly fun adventure and do whatever you want? You wanted to open up the moped shop in Tahiti. You wanted to go sail the world on a solo venture. You wanted to be the solo entrepreneur on the whatever. You wanted to do this, wanted to do that. You always wanted to be the French teacher in France. I don't know. It's your life. It's your dream. And you can get those details, by the way. You don't have to think this is some big Mount Kilimanjaro. It's not. You can ask angels, hey, what are my 3 best options? What resonates best? Learn to listen to what sounds good here. Your heart's talking to you all the time. And up here, we do the best we can to ignore the real reality, the multidimensional, the love, the having more fun, the sparkle in the eye, the zip, and everything else. So this is a lot to grasp. The idea that you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever has nothing to do with angels. It's just a really positive statement. Ego will flip out at that statement. Welcome to meeting your ego. Welcome to meeting the side of you that limits, judges, causes pain to others, causes pain to yourself. If you could only see that energy, holy cow, your ego would get back in the game right away and be like, wow, I've just caused harm to myself and others for decades. I'm a really bad person. And then you'd self-judge for another decade. That's just ego. It's unlimited the number of ways that ego can beat you up to no end and then beat others up as well. The judging, the labels, the limits, you're a mean person, you're this, you're that. It's ugly. Totally ugly. I mean, it's negativity. If anybody's ever seen negativity, nothing to be afraid of, though. If you just stand your ground, be in your heart, trust love, trust that you're protected, you're good. Okay, so you can be happy now in this very moment is one of the ways to do a litmus test, to learn where are you putting your resistance, how resistant are you to living your life, to loving more, to just breathing, to being at peace with a sunset, paying attention that the sunset existed. How many sunsets and sunrises have you missed in the last month? Not 98%. I'd love to say 98% because I'm a regular human that way, but probably 90%. I mean, I've caught some sunrises and I've caught some sunsets because I try to pay attention to that. It's a bad example. But the flower on the side of the road that you should have noticed, but you're just like this with the iPhone. Or you're too focused on what happened at work or on this board or this community group or something. Okay, so you can live more, allow more, and so on. And now back to you can have any answers to any questions. You have no more excuses for living. And you have no more excuses for discovering who you are and your unique life path. And this has all sounded so serious. Angels have tons of humor. They know how to actually just talk your way gently so you let go of what you need to let go of, that divorce from 10 years ago that you're holding on, the death in the family from 10 years ago that you're still talking about. You're part of the death group for family relatives, and that's all you talk about on the circuit. But you actually never dealt with it. You never let go, and you never realized that that relative's fully alive with you now, maybe invisible, but cheering you on, loving you unconditionally. And you only have to slow up long enough to take a breath and be like, wow, I could live more, love more, and there are other directions I want to go in. A lot of folks who've done the service in the past, who might be big name and so on, can have a reaction afterwards. Just like, it could be anything. It's still nice. They've done the service, they've met angels, they've seen Audrey Hepburn on a beach in New Jersey during the lockdown out of their window. But they'll tell you later, people who need this will just find you. And that's it. And that's okay. Everyone's going to be somewhere before they do the service. They're going to be somewhere really cool when they meet angels and they let go. They're going to be in a very happy place. But they may be to retreat for a certain amount of time, but not forever. Ego can only bury the experience of this more love in a moment, and shedding ego and letting go of the burden and the luggage and the what happened to you as a kid, what happened to you last week, this near-death experience, losing a family member, losing 6 jobs in a row, 6 divorces in a row, the health issue. You get to get unburdened, so to speak. You get to be given a clean slate. You get to be given a sense of perspective and clarity. If you don't take anything too seriously, you don't have to have ego come in a bum rush. Ego wants to come in and shut you down. Ego wants to come in and tell you, hey, forget everything that happened. We got to go back to crisis mode. don't live. Don't pay attention to this. So it's really, what are you willing to allow for? How much can you do a little bit of self-actualization, self-realization? The hugs. Let's get out of words for a second. The hugs, if you only asked, I think I said this earlier, if you only asked like 3 things. One's letting go. Letting go of details because they can only hold you back. You usually get married to your life story. You tell everybody your life story. You tell everybody this. You tell everybody that. You repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And guess what you're doing? You're reinforcing what your future is. Practice reinforcing only one thing, what you want to have happen in life. Find a way to say it. That could be the hardest thing in the world because you're not used to it. You're used to looking backwards. You're used to looking forwards, but you're not used to living. Find a way to say what you want to have happen and keep saying it over and over again. Check in with angels. You can do this one way, by the way. Talk to angels one way. You're already kind of doing it. You're sending out your energy and you're telling the universe exactly what you want. Negative most of the time, positive sometimes. And you're wondering why you're getting more negativity, repeated relationships, repeated this, repeated that, over and over again. It's how the universe works. It hears you and delivers exactly what you're saying. Okay, so talk to angels one way. Winnie the Pooh said it best, everyone talks to animals, no one listens. That's the problem. That's the quote. I like to add, that's the problem, and that's the opportunity for growth for us all. Pay attention. So whether we're talking animals, you can talk to your dog, listen to your dog. Do you ever actually take time to listen to your dog? Take the time. And once you find a way to not feel awkward about it, you're going to hear just fine. Like a little 4th grader saying, Daddy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. Let them lick your face. You're going to hear them. Trees talk to you. Not every tree. And not every tree is totally fantastic. But most trees are totally cool and they'll help you. They will help you ground and protect. If you're having difficulty, go barefoot on the grass, find a tree, sit under the tree, get a notebook, sit with a crystal, do whatever you got to do. A favorite sacred family object, your thing. Just do it. A bundle of flowers. You can ask angels to bring you the smell of flowers, the smell of your favorite ocean. It's one of my favorite things to do for people. You can get a wind in your hair from that ocean effect. I love doing Hawaii for folks. I'll blow through the microphone and they'll feel a little bit of sea spray. It's not my breath. I've brushed my teeth. I've done scope. It's angels bringing the energy through. You can close your eyes and have a guided meditation. I don't usually mention that too much, but it's just enough to put out there that you're going to get your answers, get your hugs, and see full on eyes open. But once you've owned that, you can close your eyes and have India come to you, Tibet come to you, a Native American setting come to you, an oasis come to you from the Middle East. Somebody who was a guest in 2023 just did that. They had a wonderful experience. 5 minutes of our time is 7 minutes over there. It's not linear. You get answers. You get a ceremony. You get presented stuff. You can see all your relatives pushed back a little ways so they don't interrupt the flow of the ceremony, whatever's supposed to happen. I stay out of it. I help you get in. I help you get out. It's all love. What are you willing to allow for? But if you happen to want to write a book or a project, you're thinking about starting a company, you can be visually shown all that and be given a symphony of light. How do you think it turns into Japanese, Russian, English, Spanish? How do you think it turns into that dialect? And also, how do you think it reaches you just the way you need to hear it? It's love. And it comes first as a vibration of the highest intent. And that's what's so super cool about all this. Just talk one way. Take a moment right now while I'm talking and put your hand on your heart if you don't mind. Just put your hand on your heart. I always suggest leaving your mouth a little bit open for a 10% boost, 50% boost for those who take this seriously. I always do humor to help you get out of what you know, to laugh. If you're laughing, you're in your heart. If you're smiling, you're in your heart. If you're breathing, you're in your heart. But think about everything I'm saying, there's a flip side to it. You've been breathing your whole life. What is he talking about? I'm talking a breath that opens openness, the breath that connects you to all, the breath that gets you to slow down and just appreciate. So a lot of guests have been talking about gratitude. What a great practice. The second you show gratitude for anything, you're there. You're in your heart. The second you laugh at a joke, you're there. So get to your heart. Not only structure a rule besides pen and paper, legal pad, pen would be really nice. It'd be great to remember your answers. Half the stuff you write down later, you're like, I don't remember writing that at all. And you're like, wow. And it hits you at the right time too. It's 7 days after you listened, you wrote 30 pages of answers, and you realize Geronimo told you something, and you're discovering it 5 days later, and you're like, because you just didn't have time to get to every answer right away, you're in such shock over connecting to the universe full on, connecting to you. You can meet your soul, your higher self, and so on. So you get to that answer, and you're like, wow, I really needed to hear that at this time. So do it one way. Angels, get me out of my head, into my heart, make this nice. Amen, rock and roll, thank you. If you're from India and you like Sai Baba, Om Sai Ram. Whatever way you can own putting yourself into the moment. Make a sacred special request, whatever words you use. If you have to say source, Mary, Jesus, Spirit, Muhammad, Buddha, whichever way you roll, add that in there, but make sure you address angels. They're just here to help, but they don't want to interfere. You're living everything perfectly from my perspective and their perspective right now as it is, because you're just living your life. It's free will. You're doing everything perfectly as it is now. You might not view it that way, and that's why they're suffering. So do you really want change? A lot of people who are stuck actually enjoy being stuck. A guest just said that on the show. That's the one coming out coming up soon. It is what it is. I try not to, I come across folks, I think there's a little bit of appointment handling here. I'm not getting folks who don't seem like they can't do it. That's only like 1 out of 100 that has difficulty. And I usually get them over the fence. What they do with that afterwards, though, those select few, it's up to them. Most handle it with grace. Once every 5 years, I get somebody who's, a complainer. But so this is about compassion, the heart, letting go, allowing, self-care, self-love, love, awareness. Grow your awareness, not your thinking. Thinking is the rat race. It's limits. It's not paying attention to your dog. It's paying attention to your iPhone for absolutely no reason whatsoever when you could be loving your dog. Touch the dog's face. Touch your pooch's face. Tell your dog I love you. I love you. I love you. Do it 30 times and watch your dog start smiling. Dogs smile. It's incredible. So you got a unique life path. You got a unique cheerleading squad. Talk to them one way. They're hearing you. Trust that that's the case. You don't have to do any listening. At some point, you're going to get really bored and be like, all right, enough of this one way. I don't care if it takes 5 years. Just do one way. It's what you're doing already. You might as well pay attention. That's the name of the game. Pay attention more. That's all you have to do. Okay. As soon as you start paying attention, you realize it's all patterns. And you're like, why am I even doing that 16 times? Twice would suffice. You just saved energy. So it's about saving energy. If it's a surfing analogy, a bodyboarding analogy, it's duck diving. The whole point on duck diving, ducking under the wave as you're paddling out to get out there so you can catch a ride in. You know that when people surf, it's just catching a ride. There's no energy expenditure, but where you point, where you put your focus is where you go, just like in life. I love surfing as a metaphor. I stick it all over my social media. I love the water. I think it's consciousness. I think it frees you. I think it's exhilarating. I think it's freedom. Touching water can do that for you. Whatever you'll allow, whatever you'll trust in. Get into the pool, go swimming, go walk on the beach. You feel better. So this is all about being smart enough to recognize that everything's energy, and you can keep wasting energy. If you've got to complain about anything, you're wasting energy. If you've got a loved one that you're hung up over because they've left, you don't communicate anymore, they've passed over, you're hung up. You're wasting energy. Obviously, if it was a week ago, there's a mourning period. And then get on with living and loving. They're with you. You can actually see them full on and chat with them. 95% of your relatives. If they just robbed a bank yesterday and were wanted by the FBI, I'm not going to speak to that. I always say that too. It can't be anybody who died in a shootout yesterday. You got to give them some time to adjust, and then it's between you and angels to check that out. Okay, so we find ways to get hung up on anything and everything and what happened to us and what we think just happened to us because of random fate, or we think it just randomly happened to us. We don't take responsibility for jack. We take this really weird approach it's a Western approach to living, or not living, I should say. It's more unconsciousness than it is consciousness. It is more thinking instead of awareness. Awareness itself is empowering. As soon as you grow your awareness, not your thinking, and you figure out that there's a difference in why you'd even want to do that, you're off to the races. Ego has no more hold on you, and you're ready to discover your unique life path. There's an angel named Dale who penned the epilogue for listening to angels. I think it's the most beautiful part of the book. I think I put 2 of those pages up on the book section of my website, so it's free. It's all over my social media too. Puts life into an undergraduate degree and a graduate degree. You got to have one before you got to have the other. The undergraduate degree is just figuring out, and this is from angels. There's no way I came up with this. I'm not that sharp. The undergraduate degree is recognizing that there's something called thinking, and there's something called the heart, unconditional love, awareness. There's a million ways to describe this, a million ways to describe this. None of the descriptions are important. Part, brain, waste of energy, living. Scrooge that we didn't like, Scrooge that we like at the very end of the show. Once you figure out that there's a difference, you're ready to get living. And you're ready to discover your unique life path. That's the master's degree. Ego has no more hold over you. And I probably didn't say it just right, but it's a beautiful, like, when I say it's a 15-minute read, I'm not kidding. And these are electronic pages. It's 5 pages for the Ford. It's a 1-page intro, so it's really like 9 paragraphs. 5 pages, how to listen to angels. A 4-page troubleshooting section if it's the 2 times a month that you're upset, you're not sure you've got the confidence anymore, you're not sure this works, you got some fluff in there, as Winnie the Pooh would say, you're not sure you can get to hear to listen. It's really the heart. It's already there, it knows how to listen. There's a little troubleshooting section. Then the appendix is probably the other best part of the book. It's big picture. Why angels now? How is any of this possible? Archangel Michael, others are getting in there, and they're talking to you about all this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful little book. I think all the book reviews are real testimonials to that. If anyone, and here's the opposite flip side of everything, if you think it's a bad book or you think I wrote it in any way, thank you very much. Be the best piece of writing I've ever done. Thank you. I totally appreciate it. But I'm telling you now, I saw balls of light. I was typing, and this is what came out. I had somebody who's super sensitive, one of those pros, go over word for word and maybe make 5 little edits that just made more sense. I was in a panic, and I've been in a panic ever since this all happened because I'm a good old red-blooded American with a good old college attitude about this. I grabbed a sure-shot camera right away and started snapping the balls of light that I was seeing. I handed the camera to other people. They snapped photos. I've got 6,000, 7,000, 5,000, 9,000 photos of fairies, angels, and so on. I've got this one concert photo. I'm pretty sure it's on my photos for sale site. It's a gajillion balls of light at a concert at Stubbs Barbecue in Austin. If anyone knows Austin, Texas, from the good old days, Stubbs has this little amphitheater in the back. It's the most beautiful small venue concert spot. And if everyone had a sure-shot camera at the concert, angels responded on this, and I've had a bunch of different people ask over the years. I think it was 1/3 or 2/3 of the crowd would have gotten the same photo, but you have to be here. If you're up here, you're not going to get that photo. If you need to understand how it works, picture how it is in your backyard before you get there. Some angels may be hanging around, but you bring your dog out. You bring your dog out right there, Joy, and you start throwing the ball. And you're laughing, your dog's in heaven, just you taking the time with your dog to throw a ball. Angels will come in like snowflakes all over the camera shot. A gajillion balls of light coming in, almost like a fog, but there's balls of light, different colors, different shapes. It's not orbs. Like I said, there's 3,000, 10,000 versions of ways of doing thinking to block the basic simplicity of all this, of being in your heart, living, loving more. And so the concept of orbs, I think Simon & Schuster 10 years ago was looking at the book, or 8 years ago, the book will be 10 years old in 2024. And they're like, oh, orbs. I love orbs, is what an assistant to a bigwig said. Or angels. We love angels. But then they looked at the photos and they're like, orbs. Well, not all of them are balls of light. I've got a silhouette of an angel all over the place. That's my guardian angel named Min, the Lakota Sioux word for water, like Minnesota. She's light waves of energy in water, very professorial, very gentle spoken. You want to smell Hawaii, ask her to bring you the smell of Hawaii. You want to go surfing like a professional. This is part of the guided meditation in Hawaii. I didn't mention this. You're sitting on the beach for the luau on the second part. You get to go surfing like Kelly Slater or name your top professional. You might not know how to swim. You might not be able to name a surfing professional. You might not even be sure surfing's fun. Angels make the waves just the right height for you. There's no sharks. You just know how to surf. Like out of the Matrix when he downloads how to fly a helicopter. He didn't know how to fly a helicopter. Software comes in. He knows how to fly a helicopter. Boom. Except no violence. This is just fun. You show up in Hawaii. Angels make it nice. Your eyes are shut. You sit like this. You surf the wave perfectly. You can still ask questions. Charlotte can show up on a longboard. Your boards won't bump. Fairies will be 14 years old, 13 years old, doing circles somehow around you. That's impossible on a surfboard, but they do a little extra. That's not quite our reality the whole way. A dolphin may be the angel Heather, and you're talking to the dolphin, and you understand her fully. You could still get, by the time you're surfing, you've already gotten most of your questions answered, but you still could ask, hey, tell me more about my book. You could look up in the sky and see the book cover. You could be given the chapters. You could be given the details. There's no limits. We're not used to no limits. If I tell you you've got no limits right now, what do you do with it? You go right back into your own reality and you forget about this as fast as you can. Now, if you get some answers and you realize, wow, I can have any answers to any questions, what do most people do a month or two from now? They go right back to their reality and forget this as fast as they can. They got their answers. They know what happened. They acknowledge it, but they still forget all the time. Humans, we forget. Welcome to being human. I always say, remember to remember if you can remember when you remember, and I thought that was original. Anything smart that I've said in this whole show, it's either Chogyam Trungpa, Mother Teresa, angels, guides, my relatives. I just regurgitate what I hear over the last 11 years. 40,000 answers, some really cool one-liners. I mean, I get boxed on the ears all the time to try to remember it's all okay. I just asked if I was a good manifester or not for the 4,000th time to Geronimo, and he was like, sweet Jesus, Mike, yes. And so Geronimo steals the show. He's a lot of fun. So back to surfing, you just know how to surf. You can have a lot of fun. You're truly letting go in the universe. You can visit other places, stuff like that. Really let angels do it. Set a timer. It's just guided meditation, sort of. It's lucid dreaming, sort of. Humans would love to slap a label on it. Aboriginal folk from Australia would know all about this, but it's beyond that. It's angel time. There's healing that can happen. You can hear what can be addressed now in this lifetime, what can't. If you're supposed to have a certain disease, maybe you can get the symptoms 40% alleviated. There's certain stuff you signed up for. There's stuff that's written, if we do this sort of Middle Eastern talk, The Wind and the Lion, Sean Connery type film, Candice Bergen. There's stuff that's written and there's stuff that's not. And angels can alter your path. Very important point. So it's really what will you allow for, what part of you can kick into gear to get the rest of you to sort of subside. Who are you going to put in that driver's wheel for the stretch limo? Your higher self, your soul. You can see your soul outside. Eyes open, you can see Aurora Borealis, daytime. Bright blue sky, sun is over there. You can see your soul. You can certainly hear your soul. You hear it all the time. That one you can't fight on because there's something going on when you're having a good day and you're like, and you're connecting to all. That's just you connecting to your higher self, your true purpose, love, unconditional love. I don't need to explain that. Athletes know it as the zone, having fun, following their life path, and so on. So this is big. It's a lot to allow for. Again, people can do it in groups. There's photos of angels, a historical photo of Audrey Hepburn, a historical photo of Sai Baba. They're on the front page of my website. They can move, they can wink, they can smile. I think the only way I know how to describe this is Harry Potter, the movies. When we saw that newspaper move and, it's CGI, computer graphic stuff, it made the newspaper photo turn into kind of like a movie clip. And I was like, wow, that was a shocker. I'd never seen that before. It'd be like getting a cell phone for the first time. You've never had a cell phone. So it's kind of a shock for technology. So photos can move. Why not? Just ask for it. What are you willing to allow for? Can you at least allow Audrey Hepburn to wink, smile, shoulder waggle, the nose wiggles? I have this happen almost every single day. Somebody gets a wink, they get a smile. They just hear, I love you, hand on the shoulder, put your hand out to the side, you're getting a shot on this arm, have an angel named Joy, hold your hand. There's always a tiger photo over here in the middle of my Angels, Positivity, and Love show. That's the tiger with the Divine Mother. If you're into the India stuff culturally, that's the tiger whose action, and you'll see it on my wall during any of those shows. The series is Angel, Positivity, and Love. Episodes 1 through 9 on Sunday are out. There's 28 experts booked through July. I can't invite the folks that I want to invite who are not necessarily going to be sure about the series until I've got at least 12 to 15 episodes out, and then I can go gangbusters. It's a fun show. They get on. They've had amazing experiences. They're very successful. They're show hosts with I just had a guest who's had 9 years of recording, 570 shows. I just had another guest yesterday that I taped, 9 years recording also with 400 plus shows. Others with 300 shows, 100 shows who are ranked. One who's 22nd on the FeedSpot ranking of the top 100 shows for inspirational, another who's ranked 26th for like living shows, so inspirational shows. And Brene Brown's is 61st, Michelle Obama's 62nd, something like that, or 65th, 66th. Michael Sandler's is 28th, and his is 26th. So there's some incredible guests here. Multiple guests have had near-death experiences. One guest alone had 3. They can see, they can hear, they can feel. They've been with me. They've done it with me before. They do it again on the show. They've had their own experiences prior to ever meeting me. They just pay attention. So I guess that's probably what I would just sum this up with. What are you willing to pay attention more to? If you're telling everyone that you've lost a loved one, you're fearful about this happened to you, a divorce, a layoff, job loss, you're stuck. What are you What are you paying attention to? Do you realize that love exists? Do you realize that if you pay attention to love more, in that very moment, you're love? You can't look at love and be love and not be love. You're love. And if you continue to be love each moment, you don't have time for all the other stuff. It's back to what Mother Teresa said. If you love people, you have no time to judge them. Well, if you love yourself, you have no time to judge yourself. If you love others, you have no time for the wasting of energy and the other business. So are you willing to roll up your sleeves? It's going to feel like a little bit of work at the beginning to let go. I'm going to argue that it's not. It's making a salad. It's yoga. It's going for a walk. It's petting your dog. It's singing in the shower. It's just make a heart in the shower and let the water fill up and trust that an angel is giving you a hug. If you want to see light in your hands, angel light, a pink ball light, I pass it through the screen. The person gets a pink ball light. It's joy. They feel and hear joy and they bring it in for a hug and then it's like a Disney moment. Great. If you want to talk that energy thing, seeing energy across the Walmart or a soccer pitch or a whole 100 yards on a football field, why wouldn't you ask angels to make a butterfly in that stream of light and have that butterfly fly around? Now, it's not a real butterfly, but is it? It's a transdimensional butterfly. It's out of rainbow light or colors that don't exist. Or you're seeing 50 butterflies, none of the windows or doors open are in this room, and you're seeing butterflies. There's mini miracles and there's miracles. You could ask for healing. Some stuff's written, but if you're feeling scratchy throat, you ask, maybe you have to, if you're a tough thinker, but you're still allowing for this, maybe you're the one who has to ask 1,000 times. But if your cousin Joe is right next to you or Sarah, and they're loosey-goosey and they're okay with this, they're just in their heart a lot more, they're easygoing, they may only have to ask 5 times to have the potential illness lifted off of them. What will you allow for? What does no limits look like to you? Be real with yourself. It's okay if you want to have limits. You're going to have limits. Even if you agree, hey, I'm ready for no limits, I'm ready for living more, you're still going to hit rough patches. Welcome to being human. Ebb and flow is what it is to be human. And then to wonder about all this and to want to put a Sherlock Holmes microscope out or those looking magnifying glasses, to want to examine all this but keep some distance like a journalist does or some of the interviewers do, that's natural too. But this is really about your presence. This is really about energy. This is really about wasting less energy, appreciating more, loving more, allowing more, being here more. What will you allow for? So I'll cover, there's an online event coming up April 22nd. I'm going to be on Coast to Coast AM radio in March. You'll see that on my website. My website's www. Just my full name. Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L, André like the champagne, Ford like the truck or car. My Amazon author profile is fantastic to take a look at. Amazon.com/author, not my name, just the word angels. Amazon.com/author/angels. I don't think $4.99 is going to put anybody out. I see a couple bucks from each book purchase. Photos of angels in there, it's your best bet if you wanted to pick up a few photos of angels. I think you get 7 or 8 or 10 angels in those photos in the book for the price of less than $5. They're $3 a piece at the website. Put your hand out to a photo. On the website, social media, this much distance, computer screen, do this. I give you a chance to do that with every guest to feel their energy. How are you going to get out of here to here? Words through the heart, prayer, a sacred request, doesn't matter what you call it. You're touching base with the universe and you're saying, make it so. That's all you're practicing for any of this. You want to have more love in your life, soulmate, start a business, feel creative, get the lowdown on what you're all about, get your details filled in so you're more comfortable with yourself so you can get living. The more you're living and finding your true passion and purpose, the more everyone else, it ripples out. Your love, your presence touches everyone whether you knew it or not. It's like strangers on a street, subway car, New York, no one ever talks to each other. I talked to everybody for almost 19 years in New York. They thought I was from California in the good old days, not the California today that everyone knocks or Texas today that everyone knocks. Lots of thinking there. But I like to talk to everybody, the security guards, the front desk people, the cab drivers, the whatever they all thought, blonde hair, California, surfer type. I'm an East Coaster originally, but you don't have to talk to anybody. You could just wave. You don't know their religious party or their religious affiliation. You don't know their political party. You don't know if they're from Texas if you hate Texas, but you like California. You don't know that they're not from California and you hate California, but you like Texas. You don't know their makeup, but what do you call that when you're taking such a big leap of faith and trust in humanity and that love might be really nice and sparkly? You wave or acknowledge, you validate, you give them a little compassion, a little love, a little trust, a little, hey, life's okay. Life's pretty good. You wave somebody through a stop sign, you open the door for them, you go out of your way, you cross the street and you open the door for the person. A little old lady, it doesn't have to be a little old lady. You do something kind, a wink, a smile, a nod, appreciation. Now, none of this is coming from me. It's coming from that angel named Dale, who is just talking about passing it along, that concept. It's amazing how small this gets. It's the movie 1940s. There's a lot on my website. Go to the suggested reading. It's books, it's movies, it's some videos, music videos, and so on. But there's a 1940s film in there. I think I even broke it out finally and gave it its own little tab under the extras section. So suggested reading in the 1940s, Lucky Partners. I think it's a jewel. It was 4 years ahead of It's a Wonderful Life, which is a guardian angel movie. It's black and white. It's got the #1 Hollywood actress, Ginger Rogers. It's got the #2 actor, British, Ronald Colman, who's fantastic, everything he touches. It's got the #1 Hollywood director, Louis Milestone. So I'm just telling you, it's an all-star cast. But it's totally undiscovered. The last 10%, it goes off a cliff. You end up in a federal court. It's a long story, but it's a guardian angel movie if you can trust that Ronald Colman, I think his name's David, is the guardian angel to Ginger Rogers. Now, the original was based on Bonne Chance in the 1920s, black and white. It was more about a 60-year-old dating a 30-year-old and the scandal, and it was all about sex. This is not that. It's the opposite. It's platonic. The guardian angel's just there to help, and when the kiss does happen, the guardian angel's like, whoop, I'm out of here. We broke the compact, or we broke the agreement. And I said, no contact. And so the guardian angel takes off. Again, it's a long story. It's a beautiful film. But what I'm trying to say is everything around you is your instruction. I love films. I love music. I love art. I love what other people are doing. I think everything reflects and points us in the direction of the heart, humanity's growth, mankind's growth. And that's what this is about. Can you find the gentler, more fun, more combat efficient, more efficient, less wasting of energy, more doing good business, doing good sports, more joviality. Let's use a word I've never said in 10 years. Being all you could be, to be or not to be. On being, let's talk about that show. So this is about being in your heart, in your center. Is that so? The next time something big comes up, a Mount Kilimanjaro, a tidal wave, a tsunami of negative stuff, you'll learn how to handle it faster and move on and get back to the process of living, loving. That's all this is. Angels are standing by, ready to help. Purchase the book. You can grab me for a session. I didn't even mention that. But if you want to grab a group of 5 together and approach me by email, you'll find a way to contact me on the website. I love doing groups of folks, but you got to be really comfortable with each other and really ready to do it. I get all of you done individually, and then I help you do it as a group. I may be doing more of that in the future. If you've enjoyed this, you want to make a donation, you can do that. PayPal, Venmo, you'll find it all over my YouTube videos in the description category. You'll find it on my website. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if I've ever actually gotten a donation yet, so I challenge you to send $1. Go buy the book, actually. Spend $5, $4.99 that way, and you'll get something extra out of it. This is all bigger than you're ever going to grasp, so don't even try. That's my advice. I'm still trying to grasp, and I'm at year like 10, 11, 12 on this. It's a lot of fun. You'll always be surprised and caught off guard constantly. As soon as you rest on your laurels, angels will come in and kick your butt a little to get you moving again. It's just not about that. So if you don't know what to ask for, just tell angels to make it nice. Just be like, hey, universe, angels, my guides, my relatives, make it nice. Surprise me. If you only asked one question, what's next? You'd do fantastic on everything you touched for the rest of your day. You're a runner. Angels, Native American chiefs, Dolnay Richard Geronimo are great coaches for running. They can help you on the day you weren't supposed to push it hard. And, you know, we're very linear, so we're kind of like a hammer. Runners especially. We're rinse, repeat, do the same thing over and over again. We're not listening. We're not listening to our body. It's like saying, hey, I'm about to break. If you go for a run today, you're going to pull your muscle. Angels will tell you to go put your feet up, grab a beer. Not kidding. And they'll save you that injury. In the same breath or the same vein, you could have been ready to slack. I'm only going to go run 2 or 3 miles today. And you hear, no, it's a good day to go long. So they make the penultimate, not just the ultimate, coaches. because they're beyond human thinking, beyond human resistance. They just see how the whole landscape is, and they're able to help you out. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there and listen. Okay, so you've got a website, you've got the book, Listening to Angels, you've got the YouTube channel. Go please subscribe and like and put comments in. Positive comments, please. Anything negative you'll never see on the website. But negative ones do teach me. I put those into the banned words list. So if you have something negative to say it. It won't last for more than 30 seconds, and you'll be blocking all future similar comments. So thank you very much for that too. The YouTube channel is fantastic. Growing it, lots of content. You're going to see this there. You're going to see lots of shorts. You're going to see lots of outside experts giving you their flavor, giving you daily tips, mantras, meditation exercises, how to let go, how to trust all of this even exists. Again, I'm with you if you had a problem with any of this, but flip the pancake for a second. People have just been doing it. It's really up to you. If you want to take 30 years, 2 more lifetimes to accept any of it, fine. But imagine what it's like. I asked an angel once a really big picture question. I said, how fast could all of humanity in a perfect world? Everyone wanted to meet angels. Everyone wanted to be nicer. Everyone wanted global climate change, but we're talking all the energy stuff for humans. How fast? The answer was 3 hours. I think we'd have to have every satellite, every iPad, angel photos distributed, and a lot of kumbaya stuff. I think it would be pretty scary, actually, if we did it in 3 hours. But I think maybe it's closer to 30 years. Who knows? Lots of groups out there like to say the shift, or this, or ascension that. And I'm not making fun of any of it. I'm just trying to say it's really just down to what you'll allow for in this particular moment. So allow for a little more love. Allow that you have no limits. If you want to take a moment right now, just put your hand on your heart, close your eyes. A lot of people in America love to close your eyes, to listen, to ask for a hug, to just feel it. Find a way to take a couple deep breaths. People have been saying lately, 2 seconds in, 4 seconds out, especially when we get off. Just make a request. Ask for more peace. Ask for great dream time. I never remember my dreams, so that'd be a top item. It's like, hey, help me remember my dreams. You're getting night classes during your sleep at night. If you don't think you are, ask for that. Ask for instruction. Everything around you and in you is your instruction. Everything that you put your focus on is your instruction. There's only one lesson that you could take out of all of it is love. If you really were letting go and you're like, oh my God, that reminded me to love more. Bravo to you. You're ready to you should own your own YouTube channel and be talking to all of us, and I should be scribing to you right now. That's the lesson. Love more, live more, allow more. Everything points to love. If you're getting caught up in little eddies on the river of life, welcome to being human. I'm not going to take away from it. It's totally real to you, but you're probably wasting energy and time, and you'll figure it out on your last breath, and angels will go through how you lived your life at the time, and you'll get another crack at it on the next go. The way it works. Okay. Angels exist. Trust that this is so. Pick up a photo or two, put it on your iPhone, put it on your iPad. You can have it actually in a way that it'll show up on your TV too. You can put my show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. Go use your smart TV, find YouTube, and look it up. Great way to watch the shows. It shows up really well on a big screen. Anytime you see an angel photo, use it as a reminder. A reminder for what? You figure it out. Get to here. Ask angels. If you see Min, if you see Einstein, if you see Geronimo, if you see Sai Baba, you see Audrey Hepburn, silently ask for a hug, get a hug. Goosebump here, whoosh down the neck. 1 million ways to get a hug. What will you allow for? The first few, you're going to be like, I don't know, maybe I felt it. By the time you're like over the whole experience, like when you learned how to drive a car, you're excited for a few weeks. Now, when you touch keys, are you excited anymore about driving? Most of us as adults, no. You don't even think twice. You're like, oh my God, is the traffic going to be bad or not? That's your only focus. There's the metaphor for all of this. The brain has such a way of taking the air out of the tire to control everything. Just get out of the brain, allow, and let angels do their jobs. You have to get out of here, get to here, and set your intent. Practice setting your intent. Practice touching your heart and say, heart, are you there? I once had my house being cleared with sage because I had to hire somebody else at the beginning of all this to clear my house out with sage. I'm watching them do a Julia Childs with the sage, big bundle of sage. It's like a Native American tradition, spiritual thing where you clear energy in your property, your house. I just did it yesterday. Throw a window open and clear. Trust that it works. You can ask angels to clear your house out too. I do it both ways. So I'm watching this guy do it, and he's incredible. He's done it for years. He trusts it. It looks like it's Julia Childs holding a whisk and just looking like a professional on the camera on TV, doing a really good job. And I'm like, wow, I could never do that. I mean, that's our first reaction for everything. And I'm here to tell you, anything that I've mentioned, you can do, period. You can do it better than I am. You can do it better than name a famous psychic, this person, that person, anybody on the timeline, any name that's come up on this show. You've got bigger and better skills than all of them combined if you would simply allow for it. That's a big statement. So he's doing the sage around the property, and before he closed it off, he had a young adult come over and put their hand out. They did the before, then he sealed it in the after, and that person could feel it, the before and the after on their hand. Now, I was brought over as well, and I'm like, is my hand working? So I remember going to a candle a week later, and I'm like, does my hand work? Can I feel heat? Yeah, I'm feeling heat. Okay, so I started with the very basics. And I finally allowed for it. And finally, you could feel energy. Put your hand up to a photo of an angel and let the angel do its job. That's all. Just feel what you can feel. Check out of judging. And that I would say for absolutely anything. You've got community issues. You got neighbor issues. You got athletic issues. You got work issues. You got personal issues. You're never going to find the love of your life. Let go, feel what you feel, and then ditch it. Pivot. Esther Hicks will help you with that. Byron Katie will help you with that. All these amazing experts have brought you the concept of awareness, the concept that there's something more, the concept that there's a whole different way it all works. It's not ego. It's not wasting energy. It's not judging. It's not thinking. It's not unconsciousness, unlove, all that stuff. That there's actually a shinier, happier you never lost. You had it as a 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old last week when you were 25, but you lost it in the last 5 days. So live more, love more, and allow more. Thank you very much.